Hello everyone, welcome to part 6 of 100 Days of Action, and today I want to talk about something that I find really fascinating, and that is social and group dynamics and how these dynamics play into our lives, our friendships, our businesses. I watched a really great video this week. Honestly, I can't remember the guy's name. I'll look it up and put it in the comments for you. And he talks about what he calls social herds. In other words, we're all animals and we're all part of a herd. And you may have a social herd, you may have a business herd, you may have your own family. And all of these different herds have different, I guess you could say, rules for existing. So like if you're part of this social circle, you follow this, these set of rules. And to give you a really basic example, that might be like, you've got this one group of friends, maybe they're like some friends from high school or something, and you know that if you go out with them and you try and say, thanks, but I'm actually not going to have a drink tonight, there's going to be a hullabaloo. It's going to be like, oh, why not? Like, are you unwell? Are you pregnant? What's wrong with you? Oh, that's boring. All of this sort of peer pressure, if you like, when we come right down to it. And this peer pressure that we experience in our social circles, it impacts us on a greater level than, being annoyed at our friends for not supporting us if we don't want to have a glass of wine at dinner. It comes much deeper because we end up with a situation, for example, let's say that you're working for yourself, or you really love what you do, or you have a passion project on the side of your job, and your friends are saying, oh, come out, oh, you're so boring, you never come out with us. And I'm sure you've heard that one before. Are you gonna come say hi, buddy? No, he doesn't want to. He's just staring at me and being like, feed me, but I already fed you. Yeah. Anyways, I look like I'm talking to myself. My dog is over here, I swear. Anyways, so I'm sure you've experienced this. I know I've certainly experienced this. I have always been someone who likes to get a lot of things done, as you know, and sometimes that means limiting social opportunities or being selective about when I go out where. And when you're in those social groups, those herds, if you like, where people aren't on the same bandwidth as you, they're not, they don't have the same goals, they're not working towards the same things, you often end up with this pushback, this tension in the friendship, because in order to be part of that social group and that herd, you need to adhere to those standards. And those standards, in that group, if you say, oh, I don't really feel like working tonight, but I know I should, the friend in that group is going to say, oh, come on, you work, you're always working, you work so hard, come out and hang out with us. Whereas if you are, and this was a great example used in the video I watched earlier, whereas if you're actually connecting with people in a herd that share similar professional values to you, say, you might express to someone in that community, you might say, oh, I really don't feel like working right now. I think I'm gonna go to the beach instead. And they might say, well, why? Like, I know going to the beach is fun, but are you feeling sick? Are you not feeling good? And you're like, oh no, I just don't feel like it. And they're like, well, you could at least do one thing that's on your list. And then you sit down and you do that one thing because that was the form of peer pressure in that particular herd or community. And you sat down to do that one thing and you ended up working for the whole day. So you can see how what I'm talking about can really impact your life. And if you have intentions to create a certain thing in your life, whether that's your business, whether you're writing a play, hey Michael, I see you there, whether you're writing a film, it's one of those things where you do need to surround yourself with like-minded people. You need to find your herd. You need to find a herd that will hold you accountable through a group structure and rules that you actually believe in. So for example, I'm part of a herd, a coaching herd, and my teammates in my coaching community hold me very accountable to the things that I say I want to create. So they all know what I'm up to. They know my goals for the week. Often they know my goals for the day. They know what I'm up to creating in the next year. They know what I'm up to creating in life. And if they haven't heard from me, or they see I'm out doing something different than what I said, I was going to do, I actually get a poke and a nudge to say, hey, looks like you're having a great day, but what happened to that thing that you were going to do? And so this is an example of finding a herd that speaks to you and empowers you. It's not to say that you don't want to hang out with those friends who want you to have a beer. It's not to say you don't want to take a day off and go to the beach sometimes when you feel like working. But to choose your herd, choose your friend circle, and choose them wisely based on what you actually want to accomplish is really what I'm talking about. It's that thing like you're only as strong as the weakest link. Well, you are who you surround yourself by. So take a look and consider, like, are there any friendships that are actually disempowering me and hindering me? I know in the past few years, I've certainly let go of a few friendships that were keeping me in the wrong herd and keeping me in the wrong set of social norms and rules. Peer pressure can be good, but it depends what kind it is, and it depends if it's peer pressure that serves you in working towards your goals. So, day 6, my sort of thought of the day, if you like, is to just have a think as you're going through your week, as you're going through the interactions that you have with people, and start listening for that and be like, okay, is this person supporting me? Or are they actually becoming a block to action because they're discouraging me or they're encouraging me to do something that isn't what I'm committed to? I am out for another great night on the town, and I am going to have a drink with some of those lovely friends, although they're not in the wrong herd. I like to think they're in the right herd. And I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a great evening.